Hello everyone, you're welcome to this video. My name is Tosin George. I am a data scientist living in Lagos, Nigeria. Today, we're going to learn how to create beautiful and meaningful data visualizations using Power BI. Our data set for this visualization is the Riby Financial data set. It has 14 columns and 500,000 rows. So that's a lot of data to play with. This video will be the first in 4 series of data visualizations concentrated on the Riby Financial data set. If I were to do all of this in one video, it would take about 2 or more hours. So I'm going to break this video down into 3 small videos so that you can absorb everything and focus on one. You can absorb everything and focus on a group of visualizations at a time. So you don't rush yourself with so much at the same time. So let's get started. All right. So before I start to upload the data, I'm just going to introduce you to the Power BI interface. So I'm going to start from the very top. We're not going to go into everything in detail. We're just going to start from the top here. So I have the File tab, I have the Home tab, which we're currently on. I have the Insert, I have the Modeling. There's also the View and the Help. Then let me just take this out. Okay. Then if you come to this area, this is our visualization area. So this is where our visualization will sit. It will sit in this rectangular box with dotted lines. So everything we're visualizing will stay in here. So the next I'll be introducing you to is the filter pane. This is basically to filter your visuals. The next is the visualization pane, which is where we'll select our visualization from. You can get more visuals, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to concentrate on the visuals here. The last pane is the fields pane. This is where your data set will show in when you upload your data. All right, so we can get started now with uploading our data. The Riby Financial data set is a CSV file. That's the format in which it comes in. There are different file formats that we can upload on Power BI, but the most popular ones I'm familiar with is Excel and CSV. And our Riby Financial data set is a CSV file. So I'm just going to go to Get Data. And then you can see common data sources, Excel, Workbook, Power BI data sets, data flows, Dataverse, SQL Server. But what we have is CSV. So I'm just going to click on CSV right here. And then you see the Riby data sets. And then you click on Open. And yes, our data set should be coming in anytime soon. Perfect. So this is our data set. These are the different columns, and these are some of the rows. But let me just talk quickly about the transform data button. So transform data is basically to transform your data, really manipulate data, especially data that's not clean. So maybe that has missing values, or there's some empty rows, there's some null values and all of that. But we'll not be doing that in this video because our data set is very clean and structured. So we'll not need to transform it. So we'll just load it straight away. Okay, so I'm loading the data. It's going to take a few minutes. We're just going to wait for the data to come in. I think it's about 59 MB. So I'm just going to wait a few seconds for my data to upload properly. You will know when you have your data uploaded properly. Okay, it's on it now. You know when you have your data uploaded properly if you have it in the fields. So this field pane here, you'll be able to see your data set there. It's a bit, so we're just going to wait. And right now we have our data set in the fields pane. And if you click here, you see all the columns you have in your data set. So perfect. So the first thing I'd like to start with is a title. What is the title of my visualization? When someone is interacting with my visualization, if somebody is viewing my visualization, what do I want them to know that I'm doing? So I feel like every visualization should have a title. It's important. So it sort of gives the viewer a summary of what is expected on the page. So to do that, I'm going to do my text box. So this is my text box. I can move it anywhere I want. So right now, I'm just going to try to adjust the size. I'll readjust later, but I want to write in what the title of this visualization should be. So I'm going to type in Riby Financials. Let me spell that properly. Riby Financials Data Visualization. Okay. Let me use a Z instead of yes. So let's do that. So I'll centralize this. I'll make it bold and then I'll increase the font. So 20 seems really large. So let's do 20. I have that as 20. So I'm going to increase this. So reduce the size. I don't need all of this space. So I'm going to reduce the size, extend the end so that it fills in properly. Yeah, perfect. So another thing I'm going to add is to put a background to my title. I just want to give it a bit of color so it doesn't just look bare with a white background. So what I'm going to do is to go to the format pane. Under general, I'll see title, sorry, not title, effects. I'll go to effects. So under effects, you have background. So this is where I can change my color. I don't want it to be white. I want it to be blue. So I'm just going to put in blue here. I could change transparency if I want, but I feel like this shade of blush I've picked is already sort of light, so I don't think I want it transferred any further. So I'm just going to leave it at 0%. I can decide to add a visual border. A visual border is just adds, color around the text box, but I don't want that. So I'm just going to go back, make sure I click on this so it's active. I go back to my effects and then I take out the visual border. I don't want the visual border. I'm just showing you what that looks like. Then you can also try the shadow. It basically just casts a shadow on the, or basically just gives a shadow effect. Well, I don't want the shadow. I think it might be too distracting right now, so I take out the shadow. You can explore the other options in this area, but for now, this is just what I want to show. All right, so to the next data or the next visualization, I also like to show, especially when it's the first page of my visualization. This is page one. You can create page two, page three, page four, because this is going to have several pages. I like to have a visualization that summarizes um, the major points in my data set. So if you look at the VB data set, you can see country, item type, you can see all the other columns. For me, what sticks out more is the country, the item type, that's the number, the products that the company is producing, the regions, the total profit, total revenue. These are things I would like my viewer to see. So I'd like them to see the number of countries. I'd like them to see the number of products. I'd like them to see the total cost. If I don't think I'll show cost, but I like them to see the total profit and total revenue, right? So what we're going to use is the card visualization. So I'm going to click on card. This is our card visualization. I'm going to try, I'm going to adjust the size and put it somewhere at the top here. This is where I want it to sit. Yeah. So the first thing I want to visualize is the country. I want to know the number of countries I have in my data set. So what I just do is to check on country. Okay, once I've done that, this country basically just shows me the first country in our data set. But remember, we just want to know the number of countries in our data set. So I'm going to go to my visualization pane. On the fields, I'm going to click this arrow and then click on count distinct. You can see if I enlarge just a bit, this shows me the total number of countries that we have in our data set. If I were to click on count, this should tell me the total number of rows. It will count the total number of rows in our data set. You know that we don't have 500,000 countries in the world, right? So we're just going to do count distinct. So this will distinctly count the number of countries we have in our data set. Right. So that's that for that. I don't want to say this count as country. Instead, I prefer to have countries there instead of count of countries. So I'm just going to right click here. Sorry, not right click, double click. So I'm just going to double click Once I double click, this will be highlighted and I can make the changes there. So I do that, type in countries, and yeah, voila, that's countries sitting right there. I can also adjust the size so it just looks better, right? So we have that there. Okay. So I also want to make some more changes here. I want to make the numbers in bold. I also want the country, that is the text beneath it, to be bold. So I'm going to come to format your visual. Under visual, I see color value. I also see category label. My color value is the number here. The category label is the text. So let's start with color value. So the font size is 45. I think I want to make it 35. You can see it has changed already. I also want to make it bold. I can add an italic, but I don't want it to be looking that way. So I take that out. I think I'm fine with the color. I don't need to change it. For the display units, I can display in thousands, millions, billions, trillions, but it's not necessary at this point. I'm going to show you where we'd need this and where it will be applicable. For value decimal places, it's not necessary to put a decimal place because we don't hear things like, or you don't see things like 185.9 countries. That doesn't happen. So the number here has to be an integer and will not be necessary to add a decimal place. So this is not applicable here as well. So I've made the changes I want to make for the callout value. I then go to my category label. I don't want to change the font size, so I'm just going to leave it at 12, but I do want to make it bold. And I also want to change the color from gray to black. So that's perfect there. Another thing I want to do is to give it a shadow and as well give it a visual border. So to do that, I'm going to go to effects. I don't need to change the color of the background. I don't want to change it, but you can if you want to. So I go to visual border and I change the color of my visual border and make it blue here. And then I give it rounded corners. This is yes. And then I also give it a shadow. Right. So this is what my visualization is now looking like. You can explore other options, but note that this is the data visualization and it's you want the colors to blend. You don't want so many effects such that it's distracting. You just want to put just enough, to make it interesting but not distracting. So I also want to show off some other numbers. Like I want, aside the number of countries, I also want to know the number of products, number of regions, the total revenue, the total profit as well. So what I'm going to do is to just copy. So do Control C on your keyboard and then Control paste. So you have this in copy. So I could as well just create another card visualization. However, I do not want to go through having to, align this and readjust it and then go back and make it bold. So I'm just not going to bother with, putting in a new card visualization. At this point, I'm just going to delete it and then go back here. So we've seen the number of countries. We want to see the number of regions. So I'm going to uncheck my region and then I'm going to, sorry, that's not region, the country. And then I'm going to check my region. As usual, the default option is to show the first region, but I don't want to see that. What I want to see is the total number, the distinct count. So I just click on distinct count and yet that shows me the total number of regions. I don't want to see the count of region. I prefer to just change it. So I double click on that. It's going to be highlighted and then I can change it to whatever I'd like it to be. So I want this to be regions. So I click on that. Okay, the next thing I want to see is the item types. How many items? And this item type also refers to the product that the company has. So how many products does the company currently have? So I'm going to do Control C, Control V, right? So let me try to readjust this. I'm pushing this to the left because I have more visualizations to put in. So yeah, so we have for this now, I want to see the ones for the item type. So I uncheck the region, I check the item type. It shows me the first item type. I want to see count distinct. I go there, I click on this, on the arrow here, I click on count distinct, and that tells me the number of products in the data set. I double click on the name, and then I want this to show me products. So that, and I press enter. So the next thing I want to visualize is the total revenue. Control copy and control paste. So you have that there as well. So this time I'm going to uncheck item type. I'm going to check total revenue. And you can see if you expand this a little further, this is 665.05 billion, right? I don't want to see sum of total revenue. I double click, right? I see total revenue, press enter. Then I come to format your visual. This number is the color value, remember, and the text beneath it is the category label. So I want to make some changes to the color value. I don't want to change the font size or make any other change like that. What I want to change is the decimal places. Currently it's in 2 decimal places, so I'm going to make it 0 so that it shows no decimal place, and that's what I'd like. So I click enter, and that's it there. I can readjust the size so it looks way better. Okay, perfect. So I copy again, control paste, because this time I want to show the total profit. So I uncheck total revenue, I click on total profit, and voila, we have total profit. I double click on this because I want to adjust the title there. Yeah, we have what we need. I control copy again and control paste. So control copy, control paste. This time I want to see the total number of units sold. So I uncheck total profit. I click on units sold, and there we have it. So I can double click this as well. So I can just take out the sum up and have units sold. Perfect. This is done. So these are the points I want to show. I want to show the total revenue, total profits, units sold, the products, the regions, the countries. So that this is the information that whoever is interacting with my visualization, these are the numbers you can go back, go backwards, right? I think these are important numbers to know. So something else to add is a slicer. A slicer basically behaves like a filter. So let's try to put in a slicer in our visualization. So I put in a slicer, it's right here. Okay, so I want the slicer to filter by the year. So what I'm basically going to put in my slicer is the order date, right? So I want this to be filtered by year. So I'll basically just come in here and type and click on date hierarchy. So this will show you the year, quarter, month, and day. But I want this to show just by year rather than showing me everything. See, if I click on the slicer now, you can see it shows me the year, the quarter, the month, and the day. That's so long. I just want to see this by year. So I'm going to take out the day, I'm going to take out the month, I'm going to take out the quarter, and that just leaves me with the year. Perfect. So if I click 2011 now, it shows me the total revenue in 2011, total profit as well, and the number of units sold. If I were to click 2014, that basically changes as well. If I were to click 2015, can see units sold changes, although this total revenue and total profit doesn't exactly change. If I were to click 2010, you can see the changes across that. So that's how to create a slicer. If you want to make any changes to the settings, you can come to format your visual, make changes on slicer settings. You can change the style. What we have is a vertical list. I can make it a drop down, so that even saves me space. So I'll make it a drop down, and when I click on the arrow here, it basically drops down all the years. So that's it for creating a slicer. The next visualization I would like to go into is the map. So because our data set has geographical information, it has information on countries and regions, I'd like my viewer to also be able to tell where the regions and countries in these data sets, where they are located on the map. It's not enough to, for example, if a company says, "Oh, we have offices in Germany, we have offices in Japan, we have offices in Kenya," it'd just be nice to have a visual of where exactly those places are, even if we think we know them. So the next thing I'm going to put in is map visualization. This is basically the map visualization here. So this is what we have here. So I'm going to put in the country, just click on country, right? So you can see all the countries, the 185 countries in our data set. You can see it here represented. I think this is Nigeria here somewhere. Yay! So you have all the other countries as well. If you just hover over them, you see the country name. So I'm going to just expand this so it aligns properly. Another thing I'd like to see is the countries by the region. So I've looked at the countries now, I can see them. Well, which region do these countries belong to? So we have the region column, and I'm just going to click on region. But I want this region to be in the legend tab here, right? So I'll click on region, and yeah, if it doesn't fall into that tab, you can basically move it around, right? So it's not something set in stone. You can basically move your column values around. So now you can see this map. You can see the region here. The ones in yellow belong to sub-Saharan Africa. The ones in orange, Central America. And you can see all the colors, right? Asia is light blue. Dark blue is Australia. So this is called a legend here. This is basically like a key to reading the map. So you can see that anything that's in light blue here belongs to Asian countries and so on and so forth. But then I want the background. I think it's a little too what I'm trying to say is that I prefer that the background was a little plain so that these colors can be more distinct, they can stand out. So to do that, I'm going to go to my format your visual. I'm going to go to map settings. I'm going to go to the style. If I were to click on Arial, this is what it will look like. This is not a good map, in my opinion, especially when you have the circles here, because it's difficult to see the circles clearly. It can be used in other ways, but just not for this, visual now. So I'm just going to use a grayscale. It definitely just makes everything, gives a gray background, and then you can really see, the colors and they stand out better. So that's that for the map settings. Um, this is the legend. You can decide where your legend should sit. Right now it's on the top left. You can make it center left. You can make it you can put in any position you want. But for me, I'll just leave it as the top left. Okay, you can change the text of the legend. You can change the title of the legend, but it's fine the way it is, so I don't need to change it. The bubbles here refer to the size of the circles or bubbles you see on the map. You can change the size, but then I think this is a little too much, so I'm just going to decrease the size. Yeah, to something, yeah. So that's just what I'll have. I can also change the colors of the bubbles. I don't think I want to change it, except I have cases where the colors are looking very similar. So to differentiate, I would want to change the colors, but I think that all the colors here are quite distinct and you can tell each region from each other. So I don't think I'd like to change the colors. This is the category label. And this basically just shows all the countries, but I think this looks a bit rough. So I'm just going to take out the category labels. So this is basically a map visualization showing all the countries in our data set and the region that they belong to. What I can't change here is the title of our map. So to change the title of a map, I'm going to go to general. So this is general here. I'm going to go to title and basically just name this map, really. Map, yeah. So that's map there. And then I want to change the size, make it 16. I also want to make it bold. I don't want to change the font type. I think it's fine where it is. So this is what I have here. So to the other visualization, I basically just want to show the number of countries per region. How many countries do we have in each region? So this is my bar chart. I want to see the region and I want to see the number. So I'm going to put my region on the x-axis. I'm just going to click on it here. If it doesn't go into my x-axis automatically, I'll just move it really. It's not that deep as we say here. Okay, and I want to see the number of countries. So I'm going to click on country and ensure it goes into the y-axis. So you can see it's gone into legend. I'm just going to take it here and put in the y-axis. So you can see the count of country and you can see the regions, right? But looking at this now, this is telling me that Sub-Saharan Africa has 130,422 countries, which is basically untrue. So what we're going to do is to click on this arrow here and click on count distinct. So if you go back here, you can see now that this is the correct number of countries per the region. Then I want to put the region in a legend. So I'm just going to take region here and put it in legend so that, this matches. Yeah, this matches properly. And yeah, it looks good and goes together. So you can see now that Europe is purple here. It's also purple on the map. Power BI automatically does this for you. But if you want to change the colors, make sure that they are aligned so that it's not confusing to whoever's viewing this. You don't want Europe here to be blue, and then when you come here, it's black. It could be a bit confusing. So try to make sure that your colors are matching across visualization, especially when you're depicting the same thing. So you know that region has been depicted here. It's also been depicted here. I think that the colors should match. So try as much as possible to ensure that coordination. What I'll do here now is to change the title of the map. I also want to change the title of my y-axis and completely take out the title of my x-axis. Because the region legend is already here, I think it will be tautology to also put it here. It's just not necessary. So I'm going to go to my format, my visual, under x-axis. I'm going to go to title and toggle that button off so the title goes up completely. For my y-axis, I'm going to click on y-axis, go to my title. I want it to show number of countries. I'm going to do number of countries. Yeah. Could also make it bold so it stands out a lot better. Yeah, perfect. Another thing I like to put in or like to change is the title of my map. So I'm going to go to general, go to title. I'm going to name this number of countries per region. So we have that there, sitting nice and pretty. I'm going to make this 16, make this in bold, and here we have it. So this is my visualization for the first page. It's more like an introductory page, right? Showing all the major data points that I think I want to explore and I think are important facts to know. We also explore the countries, so we are showing so we show the different countries in our data set. We also wanted to see the number of countries in each region. But something I'd like to show here, particularly on my bar chart, is the data label. If I were to download this as a PDF file or in a PowerPoint file, it will be difficult to tell how many countries we have in each region. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my format, data, visual. I'm already there. I'll go to my visual, I scroll down, and I toggle the data labels on. So you can see that the numbers show clearly. What I can do now is just make it bolder, and yeah. So I can increase the font size there, right? I can make it bolder. The North Africa isn't showing, but I think if I increase the size, I would see it there. Perfect. I can change the color, but I don't think I want to. Yes, so that's what we have there. I can also change the position of my data label, whether it's inside and or inside center, but I think I'll just leave it at the inside center. So that's what we have as our data visualization. And the last thing that I would like to include here is the insight, right? So the insight is basically a summary of what the chart is saying, and I think it's quite different from recommendation. Recommendations are the decisions you would like to take or you encourage the company to take based off of the insight. But insight is just basically summary of what you have or of the visualizations you have. So these are all the visualizations we have. I'm just going to create an insight box, which is basically a text box saying, oh, this and this is what we have on this page. So this is our text box. And here I'm going to adjust the size right here. So it's going to come down here. and then we're gonna have it here. I want it to be spread across the dashboard, so we're gonna have it there. So my insights is basically saying there are 7 regions representing 185 countries. I think I should save this. Uh, yes, let me expand this a bit so I can save it properly. Or just click on Control Save. So let's save it as Riby Financials. Yeah, good. So save. Yeah, so save now. So let's type it in. There are 7 regions representing 185 countries, right? Okay, this insight keeps leaving me. 7 regions representing 185 countries, right? Sub-Saharan Africa, and Europe have the highest number of countries. Okay, say both have the highest highest number of countries. Then I can put that in bracket. I could say a lot more, but for the purpose of this video, so it doesn't become too long, then I can say that total revenue, and total profit. The profit is 655 billion and 196 billion respectively. So basically just summarizing what this is about. In the original document I created, I think I did say a lot more, but for the purpose of this video, I don't want to make it too long. So I'm just going to make it this. Yes. So let's just put this in bold so that the major points are highlighted. Yeah. Yeah, let's do sub-Saharan Africa as well. Okay, that's this video. I really like to put my insights in italic or italic, so you may not do yours that way, but I like to do mine that way. So it's up to you. If I had more time, I would have, just gone ahead to explain in detail what this is about. Explain in detail what my chart is saying, but I don't want to, spend a lot of time writing it. So, but in the next video, I'm just gonna have it copied and pasted, and we can look at it together. So let me adjust this properly. Okay, so this is what we have, and I can just basically write insights here. Okay, I'm having to do this again, so I need to save. Okay, so I'll just do this quickly so that we don't take too much time. Okay, so I can rename this. Instead of page one, I can just have countries and regions. Yes, so this is our data visualization. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, any comments, suggestions, or if you think there are visualizations you want me to explain in the video, please reach out. Just comment and let me know what you'd like me to do. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Tosin George, and I'm a data scientist living in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.